Hello, guys. Welcome back to welcome back to the unintentional Judo channel. I go by the name of Heinz, and I'm joined today by with Squiddy and Bruce. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. How have you guys been? How have you guys been? It's been a while.
Staying
Bruce?
busy. Really busy.
Oh yeah, Squid.
Yeah.
Is that guy still stalking you? Yeah. Are you still going to court for that?
Not necessarily. He didn't show up for a court hearing for a show cause hearing in Florida with a federal judge. So we're waiting on sanctions for that. Every day I check the docket to see if there's sanctions, but the judge is taking his time. So, but no, I haven't heard from him. I kind of miss making fun of him. It's kind of the highlight of my week, being able to pick on somebody. I kind of feel bad though, because he was a super easy target.
Hopefully your case goes well. I'm so happy that finally Laura Owens has been indicted for everything that she's done. I didn't what do you guys think about that? How has the temperature been?
I was surprised. I didn't expect 7 indictments. I expected maybe they would have 1 or 2 or something like that. So the amount that they uncovered was really interesting. And the severity, I think the topmost indictment is a class 2 felony. That's pretty serious business.
Yeah. What is that count 2 with the intent to defraud? Is that count 2?
Yeah, I looked up the Arizona statutes, and I think it's
if you just stop there, on the first page, there's a class 2 felony.
Forgery. Yeah.
They just go down the list, class 2, and then a bunch of class 4s, and then I think at count 7 is class 6. But these are all felonies. They're very serious business.
No more voting.
Wait, is that what's over there? She can't vote anymore.
Huh? No more Second Amendment. Not like she cared, because she was anti that anyway, but it's not the point.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happens. There may be certain things she can't do while she's under indictment until her trial is complete. I'm not sure of all the details, but yeah, there could be restrictions for sure.
Oh, okay.
I looked up the statutes, and if she is convicted on every single one of them, and pending no mitigated circumstances or anything like that, the minimum time frame that she is looking at is 12 and a half years. If they're concurrent, or
yeah, that's
if they're consecutive.
Okay.
So everything is subject to change, but if things go one right after the other consecutive, 12 and a half years is the minimum. Do I think that'll happen? No, but
yeah. So For each of these counts, there's kind of like a minimum, a average, and then a aggravated or maximum. And then it's up to the judicial discretion in Arizona about whether they are concurrent, happening at the same time, or consecutive, one after the other. So there's quite a range here from anywhere from 4 years up to 33 years. Obviously,
33 years.
33 is a crazy, like every count would have to be aggravated and they'd have to run
Yeah.
one after the other. That's never going to happen. It's just a mathematical limit.
And there's also, the judge has a lot of leeway on what they can do.
That's right.
So,
Before we
and the
continue,
fact that she is a first-time
Wait.
offender.
oh yeah, that's she only got caught the first time. She only got
Yeah.
caught.
I mean, everybody gets caught for the first time, right?
That's
That's
the thing.
what-
Like, technically, a lot of people break the law every day. Even if you speed, technically you're breaking the law, but it's
Yeah.
how many times you get caught that matters.
Okay. Before we go on, I just want to say hi to the chat. Thank you so much for using the chat and being so lively in there. Best comment I've seen so far is Zach saying she and Jody Arias will be best buds. Zach, welcome. Yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well. The question is, Nom de Plumes asks, will this be a jury trial? I'm not too sure. Are trials of this nature done by the bench? Do you guys know much about that?
I would assume it would be jury unless she asks for a bench trial.
Oh, okay, so it would be jury. I wasn't too sure. Wasn't too sure because I love the wording on this. Can one pursuant to scheme to artifice to defraud knowingly did obtain benefit from claim Ray Eckerd? Finally say his name properly this time. By means of fraudulent pretenses, with representation, promises, or material omissions. I'm guessing they're talking about is that the pregnancy that they're talking about?
I would, and that's an interesting one because that, in my mind, that could go to more than one possible instance that I because that could even be the real estate, that she never had any intentions to purchase real estate and she put herself, but there could be more details about that we don't know too.
Count two, Laura Michelle Owens, with intent to defraud, did falsely make, complete, or alter a written instrument to sonogram in violation. So they probably have proof for this. They probably. Do you think because I saw people online, and by people I mean David Gingras, a lawyer. Do you think that they have enough proof that they're bringing these charges, or do you think it's frivolous?
I think that they wouldn't have spent 11 months working on this if they didn't have something that they could convict her on. And I don't think they would have brought something that they didn't have solid evidence on.
Yeah. Where did Bruce go?
No idea.
Okay. Yeah.
But so the statutes, 2002, that's forgery. And the classifications of forgery, and then 2001 is just definitions. I have all these pulled up because this is where I like to investigate what the actual statutes say.
Feel free to share it. Are you able to do that? Do you know how to do that?
I can see if I can share let's see if I can figure it out here. Let's see.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
I can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. I think my volume in my headphones just got a little light.
Oh no. I don't know how to share let's see.
Let me go to the
I'm
chat.
losing
It
it.
says
This is a new
IBOO. No, go
platform.
on.
Oh, there we go. Here we
Oh,
go.
okay.
So
Let me. Okay, perfect. Let me. Okay, we can see. I will highlight yours. Can you guys see that? Okay, cool. Okay, so talk me through this.
so 13 is their criminal code. So whenever you see 13 in an Arizona thing, it's criminal. Arizona's legislature's website is actually super freaking easy to follow. It's actually one of the easiest that I've seen in the country besides Florida. But 702 and 701 are relating to first-time felony offenders sentencing and definitions. And
Okay.
then 701 is sentence of imprisonment for felony, present tense report, aggravating and mitigating factors, consecutive terms of imprisonment, and definitions. So it goes into a lot of y'all. I can send you the link or I can put the link in chat, and y'all can go into it. It's a lot of like
Wording. Word.
yeah. If section A is this, then skip ahead here. It's a lot of that. If the person is this old, it's a lot of back and forth. But 2002 and 2020 is forgery and related offenses. So that's what's interesting, that they got her for forgery.
Mm.
So it's, and then I think in another one you can share the indictment again, but I think they have her for perjury down here. So they have her 2702. But they don't. The interesting is they don't have perjury by inconsistent statements, which I feel would be something that would be one of the things that she's done, because first she had a miscarriage in January, and then she had it in July, and then
I think I think they may have found out. They may have found that they might not be able to prove that easily, because I think that has to do with yeah, they may have felt that they might not have proved that easily for
you
but yeah.
bring
These
up a good point.
yeah, these 4 perjury counts are all about making false sworn statements. So that's maybe
There's
where
also
they're
a
going.
difference between what we know and what we can prove.
Yeah. Let me go back into the count. I'm not sure. Feel free to close your window. So yeah.
There you go.
Uh oh. Why is it not showing?
There we go.
Is it showing? Oh, okay, it's showing. Okay, cool. Let me zoom in a bit more.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, count 3. In regard to material issue, I'm believing it was false and did make a false sworn statement. Testifying in front of Judge John Duty that she had not been intimate with anyone else. I'm surprised they done. Do you think they'll be able to prove this one? Because
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would get past a grand jury unless they had really good evidence, possibly from one of her confiscated devices.
That is
okay.
true. Oh yeah. I forgot they had the devices. Duh, they have a lot more information than us.
I
So
mean,
Yeah.
my understanding is they have almost half a dozen phones and laptops or other devices from this case.
Mhm.
I wonder if they
Yeah.
have the
Oh
moon
yeah, I forgot
bump.
about that. Yeah, go on.
I
Go
wonder if
on.
they have the moon bump.
Do you
They're in a
think
big
that those?
box.
I was listening to Flux the other day when she was talking about this, and she was like, "Could you imagine what would happen if they brought the moon bump into court as an piece of evidence?" How embarrassing would that be? And how is she not embarrassed by this? Like, I am embarrassed for her.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad for her that it's gotten this far.
You feel
Almost.
bad?
Almost. If she wasn't such a narcissistic bitch.
Oh god. Oh god.
If she was an overall decent person who just got into a little bit of in over her head, I might feel bad. But she has a history of this, and she's a nepo baby, so I have no remorse or I have no empathy for her.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit deceptive in terms of calling her a first-time offender when she's done this pregnancy scam over and over again for at least 10 years, right?
The first time she's been caught or charged, not
Yeah.
caught,
Yeah,
charged.
yeah, exactly. So there's a long history here.
Yeah.
Thank Judge Mata for like having the proverbial balls to actually refer this to the county attorney.
Absolutely. Without her, like this would have this wouldn't have happened. I was very shocked to have even learned that it was being referred, because usually it doesn't happen in family court. Like from the chain of command. Well, not I don't know what to call it, but from where it began, I
That's
didn't
what I would
think
call it too.
chain of command. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'll call it that. Yeah, from the chain of command, and like where it came from is actually very surprising that it was even being referred to. The it's county court, isn't it? It's referred to county court, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
County or circuit court for the
So
county.
yeah. So yeah, that surprised me. Let me go to the chat really quickly. Zach, thank you so much for the thank you so much for the $1 to super chat. I appreciate it. He says the unintelligible juror, just for old time's sake. I appreciate it, Zach. I'm never who was it? Bruce? Bruce
At least the
Bruce.
mics are working today, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate you. So let's go back into the reading. In regard to count 5, in regard to material issue and believing it to be false, did make false sworn statement, video clip of father touching pregnant belly. So I think they do have the moon bump. I think they do have the moon bump.
Well, I think that video, was it just me remembering incorrectly, but that video was real. I just think that was her sister's video that she represented as her.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a couple video clips, and what it was sent, I don't know who it was sent to, but it was at least sent to Dave Neal. And so Dave and I looked at it and we tried to understand the metadata for those files, and it was basically a rendering of some other video. So it wasn't like somebody took a video with their iPhone and just mailed it to Dave Neal. Somebody took a video, went into an editing program, probably figured out the start and end point, got rid of the audio, and probably cropped it, because in the video, there's no like head of the person who's pregnant, right? And that's clearly like if you're trying to say, oh, this was me, and it's really your sister, you'd get rid of her face, right? And the amazing thing was, when you view that video, I think it's on a phone, it's like neck down. But when you view it on a PC or a MacBook Pro or something, you can see like chin down, and there's moles and things like that. And so people are like, well, this is not Laura, it's her sister. So people were able to confirm that was there. Now, the interesting thing about it being in the indictments is that they must have evidence of like the original source video or something like that, or they must have a witness like her sister who says that's my video, not hers, along with her emails saying it's her, right? Because that would prove the fraud here.
And here's the
Go
thing that, not to say that you guys can't experience this, but from someone who's been pregnant, never once did I take
We,
a picture of my belly without my face in it. So
Yeah.
that right there just struck me as odd as hell.
oh,
Like one of those other, like any woman that has been following this can see right through it, because it's like the things she's doing,
Yeah.
normal pregnancy things, are not normal for
mm,
anybody who's actually been pregnant.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
even if the point was to focus on the dad who was in the hospital at the time, you'd maybe pan in the video. So maybe you don't see the person's face the whole time, but you probably do for at least part of it, right? So that's why it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just, things don't add up. Like, and I think Mata, being a mother, saw that things didn't add up. Like, A plus B does not equal X. Like, it's just, the math ain't mathin'. And having
yeah, like
kids, being a
what was it?
mom, shit
What was
was
it?
weird.
How long was she overseeing the case for? Like 2 years or something like that? Was it 2 years or 3? How long was
Um,
she overseeing the whole? Because if memory serves, it was just I forgot what it's called, but if memory serves, it just began as Clay. What was it?
Well, if you
How did?
exclude all the appeals and you start when she filed in family court, I think it
Yeah.
was probably right around a year.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little under a year.
Yeah, like so she must have seen the pattern. Is what I was trying to say. She must have seen the pattern and how things were not adding up just with her and
Yeah.
playing alone.
I mean, there was the
So
original filing, which is pretty straightforward. But then I think the interesting thing is Clayton's response to the original filing is sort of like, hey, I don't think there's any babies here. And of course, in a paternity case, you're kind of like, what do you mean there's no babies? Like, it's a paternity case. Of course there's babies, right? You're fighting about the babies. And he's like, no, I
and she
don't
was trying to
have any
withdraw from.
evidence that she's pregnant. And so from there, they went to, okay, well, let's try to establish paternity, right? And they went to these RAV-gen tests and all of that. And then the case was taking too long. So they were like, well, we're going to put it on the inactive docket. And then, they got into, well, here's all the RAV-gen results. And she said, I'm no longer or not now pregnant. And Clayton was like, well, I want a ruling of non-paternity. I want legal fees. And of course, she was like, well, I want legal fees too. And so they argued about that in, February. And then they set the evidentiary hearing for June because I think the reason it took that long was just because of the calendar. The calendar in the court is very busy. They probably could, if the calendar had been available, they would have done an evidentiary hearing before June 10th. But that's just when they could fit it in.
Corey Keith was still with her at the February
That's correct. Yes.
hearing. What strikes me as weird about all of this is the amount of people. This is just one representation of what happens all over the country with these people filing lawsuits, and the party going, hey, wait, something's not adding up here. And then all of a sudden the party who filed it wants to go, oh, I'll drop it. And it's like, no, you opened a can of worms that
I saw
you're
that.
not, you
Oh,
mm-mm.
that's what surprised me the most. Like she dropped it, citing what was it? A
I'm not
miscarriage, wasn't
pregnant
it?
anymore. There's no need for paternity.
You sound like someone
Yeah.
that knew that they're about to get caught. so, so they tried to.
Well, that's why that February hearing is so interesting to rewatch, because you can tell the judge is like, if there was a miscarriage, when did this miscarriage happen? And the lawyer, who's a man, is just up there like, well, Your Honor, sometimes women miscarry and nobody knows when it happened and
No,
stuff. And you can just tell the judge is like, I would like more evidence, please. And yeah.
Yeah. Let me just read this last count. It says, with intent that it be used, introduced, and rejected or made available in an official proceeding, which was then pending of Laura, or with which Laura Michelle Owens knew was about to be instituted, did destroy, mutilate, or alter, conceal, or remove physical evidence. To 7 used, or no, to exhibit A6 and A7, that's the one, used during June 10th, 2024 hearing with the intent to impair its verity or availability in violation of whatever the code says. What is this in reference to? Is this
These were photographs of her standing like in a door frame, where she's got like a sports bra on, and she's trying to show that her extended abdomen means she's pregnant.
Where she's
And
like overarched her back.
yeah,
And it's like anybody can look like they have a belly if they're like hyperextended at the hips, their shoulders are back, and it's like, I mean,
yeah, there's people
not
with
normal posture.
there's people with, what is it, PCOS or gluten intolerance or other conditions where they can make their abdomen very large in a very short amount of time. And so it's like, well, is that what's going on here? Is there photoshopping going on here? And people were looking for evidence of photoshopping in the door frame and things like that. So they must have found evidence again on her confiscated devices that maybe there was some photoshopping here, because the keyword in that indictment, I think, is alter. Because obviously it's not, we have the photos in court. She didn't destroy or mutilate anything, but it's possible she altered things in order to deceive the court, and that's what that count is.
That's an interesting. I would be very curious to see what comes of that, because it's just, there's so much speculating, and on the internet, we sit here and we give our informed opinions based on I've been pregnant before, or I'm good at Photoshop, or I've worked with Fiverr before. Sorry, I had to bring it up. I had to. I couldn't help it. Sorry. But like we sit here and we give our informed opinions, but at the same time, we're just speculating on what we think they might have. Yeah, we kind of use, we can use logic and critical thinking to put 2 and 2 together, because with some of these things, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that something's not right here. Like the moon bump over the boobs. Like, I'm chunky and I was chunky when I was pregnant, but my belly never went over my chest. And then everybody knows, who has subscribed to my channel for more than an hour, knows that I have an issue with energy drinks. To sit in a Zoom call with an energy drink while you're pregnant, no. No.
Yeah. I also think what really helped is the fact that Mata was a female judge. I think that helped a lot, because I think a lot of male judges may have missed it, because I don't know anything about pregnancies. I'm just imagining what a male judge sitting there would be thinking, like.
Do you think that's why Gingras tried to get her removed? So hard to get her removed?
Probably, yeah, that's a good point.
So.
Yeah.
I think so, because
that would make him a misogynist, right? Like, I don't use that term lightly, but like,
well,
certain people in this world seem to have a problem with women in powerful positions, and Gingras seems to be one of them.
Yeah, that could be part of it. But I also think it's sort of like jury selection, right? When lawyers are in a criminal case and they're trying to weed out jury members, they're trying to have a jury that's going to be more conducive to their arguments versus the other side's arguments. And I think maybe that's his strategy. Like, can I get a new judge who will be more receptive to my arguments?
More never been pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. My arguments, which come from Dr. Medchill, who never saw the patient, You know, all this sort of these
And
jank arguments.
Oh,
You
I
know, can you
really
get
wish
it?
I could
Yeah.
discuss this case. My OB passed away from breast cancer. She was like 35. Bless her heart. I rest in peace. But damn, like I really wish I could call her up and discuss this case with her and get her opinion, because she would be like, what the
Oh yeah.
absolute, like,
yeah,
mind blown. I really wish I could get her informed opinion on what she would do with this.
Zach says. Zach says, I used Amber Heard as a verb before, as in my dog Amber Hearded on the rug again. This
Well,
woman is.
I had made a comment that I use Sarah Boone as a verb, because I say Laura Owens is going to Sarah Boone the hell out of this thing. She's never going to admit she's wrong. She's never going
Yeah.
to take a plea deal. Nothing is ever her fault, and everything that happened that she was wrong was an accident.
Yeah, like speaking of Sarah Boone and Amber Heard, like she her response to all of this has been very interesting. I cannot believe because when the case was picked up and was uh played by the media and gone out there, she released a press a press release, and
Yes.
who wants to read it?
I've read it before, so I will read it, because the initial shock of like me stopping and going, what the actual F, kind of wore off. Because if you haven't read it out loud before, reading it in your head and then reading it out loud, and when you actually hear it out loud, you're like, did I just say that?
Yeah. Let's read
Oh
it
my goodness. You have to
together.
scroll up to see the picture. Because the picture.
That's Judge Matter, isn't it? And
No, that's County Attorney Rachel Mitchell,
oh, my
photographed
bad.
smiling alongside a Justice for Clayton member holding a letter that called for my prosecution, part of a coordinated international campaign to pressure her office into filing charges against me.
Guys.
Rachel Mitchell was doing a meet and greet for her reelection. I'm pretty sure she had no idea who that was. That is some random Joe Schmo off the street. She's never met them before, doesn't know their name, has never seen them again in her life. Like they don't run into each other at Trader Joe's. Like they're not, they ain't friends. She was doing a meet and greet. Probably held up a picture, take a picture, held, signed, gave an autograph or said, what do you want out of my what do you want if I were to be reelected? And he probably said, look into Laura Owens. And then
that's the key. That's the key. The campaign is to make sure the county attorney investigates the case to see if they should bring charges.
Yes.
It's not to pressure her to file charges. It's to pressure her to investigate thoroughly, because I don't care. She may investigate thoroughly and decide there's no good charges to bring. But as long as she has done a good job investigating, that's what I want.
And the thing is, too, like, I do believe there are DAs around this country that do give in to public pressure for charges that should not be brought. Kyle Rittenhouse, one of them. I do believe that there are people that are charged that shouldn't be based on public pressure. I don't think this case or the public pressure is the type of public pressure that would convince somebody to file charges where they're not necessary. Because those cases are like, file charges or I'm going to go after you, kind of like pressure, or I'm going to burn this city down. Not the file charges or I'm going to make fun of you on the internet. There's a big difference between, I don't know, burning a city down if someone's not charged.
The way I just find it funny that I just find it funny that she's now alleging a conspiracy. with like they're all in it to bring me down,
We're all going to
including
be charged with RICO. Just wait. People have threatened that I'm going to be sued for RICO charges in another case, so we might as well just add to the list.
Well, she calls it a coordinated international campaign. But the problem is, if a bunch of people write in letters and say, hey, you should investigate X because it's important to me, that's like if I mail an elected official and say, hey, you're spending all this money on I don't know, a new water tower. Why don't you fix the potholes on my street? Like, there's nothing wrong with any of this. So I think it's interesting that Laura is focusing on this thing that she sees as nefarious in her mind psychologically, which in reality is just citizens exercising their right to talk to an elected official.
Mm.
I wonder if, because now she claims that she has autism, if the prosecutor will ask for a psych eval. Because if she's never been diagnosed with that before, and then all of a sudden you're claiming that's why you lied, which is funny because she claims that's why I lied is because I have autism, which she admitted to lying, which is like, huh? Something, the math ain't mathing on that one either, but that's a rabbit hole that we can get to another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a different take. I don't think she's claiming autism to explain these indictments or the actions behind the indictments. I don't think she's ever made a direct statement like that. I think her blogs about autism are more trying to explain her worldview. But I think also what I think it is once the case was referred to the county attorney by the judge, all of a sudden you have a county attorney doing an investigation. And my take, and this is just my opinion, but my take is that Laura wanted some way to have power or control in some fashion over this investigation that was kicked off. And her way of doing that is to say, well, I'm autistic, therefore you need to give me accommodations. And so it's sort of like in a poker game, it's a way of giving herself a few aces up the sleeve, right? So it's more about the power in the situation rather than trying to make an excuse. That's just my opinion, but I think as you read through this, you might see that start to emerge as a pattern here.
And I don't disagree with you. Just from my medical work and medical background and working in a hospital, and now the clinic that I'm at once a week. I don't work there. I'm basically the janitorial service. It's the first job ever. My friend owns a cleaning service, and I once a week I help him out because he's a one-man band, and this is too big for him to do by himself. But I see what those kids do to the walls, the tables, the toys. So for me, being in a medical background and then being in this environment once a week and seeing these kids, I get very agitated about the fact that someone who, in my opinion, has never been diagnosed before, all of a sudden tries to hide behind it and use it as an excuse for or a power play. But to claim you have something that I do not believe you have, is very there are lots of people who have problems and need help and can't get it. And now you're using this as whether it's a power play or as an excuse to get sympathy or as an excuse for why she might have lied, whatever you think. The fact that she's because she likes to throw that epilepsy in our face with everything. So if she was really autistic, that would have been in everything from day one. That would have been in her TED Talks. That would have been in her medical.
Oh, she would have milked it. She would have milked it.
Yeah. So the fact that it's only bringing it up when she's being threatened with an investigation is very sus to me, and makes me very angry as a medical professional and someone who sees parents of autistic kids on a weekly basis who are stressing out because their kids are nonverbal and destroy things and have a really rough time. So it's just it irks me. If she truly does have a diagnosis, I will retract my statement. But
I
Like
think it's
many things, she doesn't
Mm.
provide the direct evidence. That's the problem with a
She
lot
and
of
when
doesn't
people
expect to be
ask her for
challenged.
it, she's like,
She d-
"Why? Why do I have to show
yeah,
you?"
she doesn't expect. She just wants people to take her word for it. That's what I've noticed
Like,
with
I've had a couple people like question whether I had a Chiari. I have my freaking MRI. I will show it to you. Like, I have my before and my after. Like, I have my freaking scar on the back of my head that I am like, oh, so willing to show people. Like, you want evidence? I will show you evidence because I have nothing to hide. It's the people who are like, well, you don't need to see that. It's none of your business. Then why bring it up? Then why bring it up in a public forum if it's none of my business?
Mm.
Like,
Nom de Plume. Hi, hope you're well. Says conceives on May 20th, still pregnant on November 2nd. Announces she is no longer pregnant on 28th of December. According to her dates, this is a very late miscarriage. Usually classed as a stillbirth. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know, or
yeah.
what
Everything
what's
about
wrong
this
with her.
miscarriage is still
Yeah.
speculation. At the February hearing, Corey Keith says, well, sometime between the time she filed the court action and now, she must have miscarried. Her current lawyer, Gingras, even goes further than that and says she may have miscarried prior to filing the court action. It's just a bunch of useless speculation. We have no evidence.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. She says, from the press release, she says, as someone who has never been charged with a crime in my life, that's because you have never been caught. I am stunned by the 7 felonies announced against me by Maricopa County Attorney's Office. These allegations appear to be a result of a coordinated harassment, misinformation, and public pressure in the aftermath of a paternity case I filed against former Bachelor star Claire Eckerd. Since 2023, I have been a target of, of a relentless campaign led by a group calling itself Justice for Clayton, a faction of Mr. Eckerd's supporters who built an entire narrative on the demonstrably false claim that I faked a pregnancy.
if it's
That
demonstratively false, provide the demonstrable.
Yeah. This is pretty wild.
Yeah,
so she is going down. She is gonna go down, kicking and screaming, like the Titanic.
like this is when I would just shut up. Like,
Yeah.
like
That
anybody who's followed the odd case out of Florida that's eerily similar to this one with the unprofessional lawyer type it's situation.
what case is that?
Never talk about the Hales case.
Hales.
Never
Oh,
talk
okay.
about active cases. When certain people got added to lawsuits, they stopped posting YouTube videos and they just stepped out of the spotlight for a minute while they handled their business. And like it's knowing when to not speak. It's sometimes no news is good news. Like, yeah.
Also, this is really interesting. It's called shifting the burden. She's saying that this group, Justice for Clayton, makes a claim of truth that she faked a pregnancy. That's not accurate. What happened was she made a claim that she was pregnant by Clayton. And my response to that is, until you show me sufficient evidence, I don't believe you. Not believing her doesn't mean I'm asserting a claim that she faked a pregnancy. I'm just saying, I don't know if you were pregnant or not. Please prove your claim that you made.
And
so what
really,
she's doing here is she's turning the burden of proof around on the audience, which is a disingenuous debate tactic.
And honestly, though, it is really not hard to prove you're pregnant. It's really not that hard.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Like,
un-
honestly, it's really not that hard.
unless you're Laura Owens, then it's a monumental task.
Touche. Well, when you're not actually pregnant and you make lots of doctor's appointments, but you never actually go to them, but you say you went to them.
Oh yeah. I still can't get over when she said that when they were the when she said that she went to the a doctor's appointment, but it was on the weekend and it was closed. I forgot what it was called.
A Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood, that's the one. That
Yes.
she, yeah, but but it was closed on the weekend. They were,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the
I
fact
mean,
and the
yeah.
fact that Mata might have known that that was the Sunday or whatever day it was, like the the insinuation that she did outside investigation, that no, she has a calendar on her desk. Like, she has a calendar on her desk. She could have
Yeah.
easily just went
You've seen it,
back.
yeah.
It wasn't really a material detail for the pregnancy and paternity matter because there wasn't a Planned Parenthood that ever sent a verified ultrasound or sonogram to Greg Woodnick, Clayton's attorney. So there's no evidence to even understand where this evidence came from in the first place. The
Mm.
only place it's sort of relevant is in this context, the criminal context, in terms of committing a perjury by saying two different things under oath. So I think when she's referring the case, when the judge is referring the case, she's including details that can be relevant for the investigation, even if they're not materially relevant for her action judgment, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get you. I
that
get you.
aren't applicable to the family court and paternity case, but are
Yeah.
like don't add up, but are not in Judge Mata's area of
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Like
we
Judge
That
call
Mata
it
made
staying
made
in your
other
lane.
statements about the order of protection hearing and about how there could be some things there that would mean you might want to overrule that, but it wasn't her jurisdiction to overrule Clayton's the order of protection that Laura had against Clayton. So she merely talked about it, but it wasn't material to her judgment.
mm, yeah. She goes on to say that accusation became their rallying cry, fueling thousands of hours of monetized YouTube content. She had to throw that in there. Reddit threads and social media attacks, many of which that's dissected my medical history, mental health, and personal life with obsessive cruelty. The abuse eventually moved offline. The group issued a public death threat against my mother and called in multiple false welfare checks to our home, knowing the resulting body cam footage will be released publicly and weaponized to humiliate me further. Yeah, that didn't happen. I'm sure
That's
that didn't
that's
happen.
not really correct. I mean,
Yeah.
there were some weird Facebook comments on her dad's Facebook post by a Facebook account. There's no We don't know who runs that Facebook account. So her assertion here that it was the Justice for Clayton group is unfounded. There's no evidence. So that is not accurate. Also, I
Yeah.
don't know, you know, one of those welfare checks was actually called in by the FBI. It wasn't called in by a random citizen. So that's reasonable. Also, I don't know what it means to be a false welfare check. Like the police were not imposters. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was going to tell someone there was a false welfare check, it would be like a prank or something by fake cops. But these were real police officers. So it's not false. So her wording here is very suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah. But we know Laura. She everyone is out to get her. Everybody, including including
Yeah,
the FBI, including they're
I
all out
guess
to get
so.
her.
Yeah.
Uh, she goes on to say in June 2024, after the conclusion of the paternity case, the group turned its focus to law enforcement. They, like I said, everyone the world is against her. Basically, they launched an international letter writing campaign demanding my indictment. Just 4 days after my case was formally referred to County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Mitchell was photographed smiling alongside a Joseph McClellan member holding one of the letters that explicitly called for my prosecution. That image was quickly shared by the same group that targeted me for nearly 2 years, celebrating it as proof that their pressure campaign was working. Well, I mean, I would do the same.
Yeah, there's actually nothing illegal about a letter writing campaign to a district
No,
attorney or county
that's
attorney.
actually the best way to do it because it's non-threatening. You're
Yeah.
not like, but they can't just delete an email. They have to actually open it up.
And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure if no one had anything that if this was frivolous, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be brought in. I'm pretty sure it would go nowhere and it'll be laughed out of the office by the prosecution. Like so yeah, she's making it sound as if all of this is baseless when there's clearly something here that
Yeah.
yeah.
She's hyper focused on this letter writing campaign while ignoring the fact that a team of investigators did a bunch of investigation, determined that there was something worth pursuing, went to a grand jury, which is an independent group of probably 12 citizens that don't know anything about any of this. And they determined that it was worth filing these indictments. She leaves all of that out and cherry picks, but there was a letter writing campaign. It's like, yeah, there was a letter writing campaign. There was a serious investigation from, July until now. And then a grand jury approved these indictments. So it's this whole process. And she just focuses on the part she thinks is attacking her. Right. She cherry picks the information and ignores the rest she doesn't want you to think about.
But here's the problem with the cherry picking is you have people all over this country that will read this that have no idea what's going on and believe her.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
and that's why she does it.
Yeah.
Because we have that, like, you believe everything you see on the internet. Like,
well, hopefully if somebody just sees this press release, I don't know where it went, but if somebody just sees this, they'll go off and look at other sources of information as well. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
you would think, but we have a very we have proven in this country that people don't like to independently investigate nothing. Just saying.
Yeah. In November 2024, because of my autism, I formally requested disability-related accommodations from Ms. Mitchell's office. While they acknowledge receiving my request, they have never followed up. Under federal law, this isn't a formality; it's a requirement. They were obligated to engage in good faith into a process to determine whether support was needed. They chose not to. The same office has also never acknowledged that I hold a valid order of protection against Mr. Eckert, issued in October 2023 after a contested hearing in which the court found by preponderance of the evidence that he committed an act of domestic violence against me, and that there was probable cause he violated that order in April 2025. That doesn't preclude you from getting indicted, though.
Well, the thing she leaves out is, out of those 7 indictments, some of those indictments are related to the fraud that occurred while she obtained that order of protection that she's talking about that she has.
But the thing is, each, like, those are actual links that you click on and bring you to the probable cause, like the police report, and it brings you to her order of protection against him, and that she has the actual letter template that I believe it was Megan and Megan's channel that did that, because I love Megan and her letter writing campaigns and her action streams. So I believe that was Megan, but it's one of those things of just like, she links it. It's like, thanks for proving that what you're saying is not exactly the whole truth.
Yeah, exactly. So if Clayton violated an order of protection Was he arrested? Did he face charges? No. So what does this
Yeah,
have to do with anything? Where's the conclusion?
absolutely.
The other
Mm.
interesting thing is at the very start of that paragraph, she leaves out what accommodations she was looking for. We don't know or can't independently verify if the accommodations she was asking for actually are federally required. We can't confirm it because she makes it very vague, right? Because she doesn't want to give you the details. And whenever somebody doesn't want to give you the details, the red flags should go up.
Or they give you details that aren't aren't relevant. Like, I had a positive first response pregnancy test. Okay, in front of him. Like, that
Yeah.
is a home test, which does get false positives, and is not a blood test. That thing that I like, when you are pregnant and you take a home pregnancy test, first thing you do is make an appointment with your doctor, your primary care doctor, and be like, I need a blood test. I got a home pregnancy test. It's positive. Is this real? And they go and they take your blood and they send off your blood. Like, it's not rocket science. And she's just focusing on the details that don't matter.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um,
She says
yeah.
blood and urine tests, but I'd never seen a blood test.
She did have at least the blood HCG test. Well, the problem was that was near the end when she was sort of looking at, was she still, I think it was that 102 that she altered into 134,000. And
Oh yeah,
then she took
when
another one after that that was like, no, you're not pregnant anymore. And she's like, oh, I must have miscarried. So she has these blood and urine HCG tests. The problem is those are just proof of HCG. They're just pregnancy indicators. They're not proof of
Yeah.
pregnancy.
And there are
To
lots of things that
yeah.
can cause your HCG to be elevated, and one thing is certain epilepsy medications.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
not.
litany
Mm.
of things that could elevate somebody's HCG. And that's the logical fallacy she commits here is she equates an indicator with proof. And the indicator is like, well, there could be a lot of reasons why this is happening. Let's go do further tests to find out why. Maybe it's because you're actually pregnant clinically. She never went and did that. And that's the failure here.
Yeah, and the word that you use there, indicator. If you were to use it for a car analogy, your indicators could work while your engine is down. It doesn't prove that your vehicle is running. Basically, it's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
I mean, the one I like is I could have a headache. Okay. And that could be an indicator of a brain tumor. Does it mean I have a brain tumor? No. We'd have to go figure out if I have a headache for some other reason
Absolutely,
or not.
good
You
point.
can do that with something simpler, is true. Like, being obese is a main indicator that you might have diabetes.
Yeah.
Just because you're obese doesn't mean you have diabetes, and just because you have diabetes doesn't mean you're obese. It's just they're
Yeah,
generally
Right.
they
Correlated.
generally
Right.
go
Yeah.
hand in hand, but they're
the
not always.
like I said, like if it wasn't Judge Matter, like being a woman, I don't think this might have gone this far. If I'm being, because you women know the difference between with all of this, with the SEG and all of that. You guys know the difference. Is what I'm
That's
trying to
true.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, in the order of protection hearing with Clayton, the Judge Duty, he's an older gentleman. So clearly he wasn't up to speed on technology, for example, and how like YouTube videos work and how metadata in files works. And so everything Clayton tried to point out to him that was technology based, I think it just went over the judge's head. So yeah, if you don't have a judge who can figure these things out, you might be in trouble.
Mm, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's nothing like to say anything like bad about Judge Judy. You don't know what you don't know, but at the same time, like, I feel like a lot of people that are in these positions of power, like doctors. I'm a lymphedema therapist. I had a patient tell me you can't. I told my doctor I think I have lymphedema, and his response, and there are certain things in life you'll never forget, was, I don't know anything about that. You can't have lymphedema. And it's like, no, how about you say, I don't know anything about that. Let me refer you to someone who does. So the judge going, I don't know anything about metadata. Do you have an expert or somebody I can talk to educate me on the metadata? That's not you.
Yeah, that would have been great if they
It's
had been able to do that. I think the problem with these order of protection things, they get like 45 minutes, and the guy's like, that's all we have time for.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. But yeah, that's what you want. You want them to go say, I don't know. Let's go find out together.
Yes. She goes on to say, they have omitted the most critical fact. I had lab confirmed positive HCG, blood and urine tests for licensed medical providers in their position. I also took a positive first response pregnancy test in front of Mr. Eckert, which he purchased it himself. Yet none of this was included in the indictment, nor was it acknowledged in the press release. For transparency, members of the press are welcome to contact me directly for temporary access to my patient portal to view the direct records directly from the medical source. The truth is not hidden; it's simply ignored. So
Well,
she's
I
a
mean,
victim.
this is weird because I mean, these indictments are about committing perjury or evidence tampering or whatever, right? Like
Right.
1 + 1 = 2. The sky is blue. Those things weren't in the indictment either. Like, because they don't matter. What matters is what law did you break? And we have evidence that shows you did it. That's what goes
Yeah.
in the indictment. Not, okay, yeah, you had a positive HCG test. Who cares? That doesn't nullify an indictment.
Apples and oranges, basically. These charges appear to be the product of intense public pressure, not impartial judgment. They reflect a system that responded to online outrage, including ignored procedural protections, and moved forward based on narrative rather than facts. It is difficult not to see them as part of the broader effort to discredit me, discourage me, and make an example out of me.
I really hope they do make an example out of her. But here's the thing, like,
Yeah.
That's a
no offense
confession
to
there.
anybody in JFC, Bruce, no offense to you or anybody who went there, but Megan tried to get a local reporter in Arizona to cover this, and he wrote one article on it and didn't want anything to do with it. She acts like this is intense public pressure. This is a small faction of the internet, a very small faction of the internet.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
true.
it, and a small faction of people who watch The Bachelor. And I don't even watch The Bachelor, so I don't like. That's interesting that I got involved in this case because the judge was hilarious, and like the whole situation was like, it's just weird. And I like the obscure weird stuff, but she acts like this has been on like the front page of the New
Yeah.
York Times.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Like,
There's
no
like
offense to any YouTubers, but no,
It's
you
now.
don't have to
It is
read
now.
the
no,
New York Times.
you're 100% right. I mean,
Yeah.
people like in the early days, Dave Neal was clamoring for other press. Like it's not, there's over 300 million Americans, and like 50 people showed up to this court hearing, like out of 340 million. I mean, it's not a big
David
deal.
Gingras acted like there was like 6,000 people there, and
He
like
acted like
we needed,
it was a billion
extra
people or
security,
something.
and it was like,
The other thing is she says not impartial judgment, but these indictments went through a grand jury. The grand jury is impartial judgment, so that's just wrong. The other part is this final sentence here. It's difficult not to see them as an effort to discredit, discourage, and make an example. Of course, that's the whole point. We want to. Your claims have no basis, so we're here to look for the evidence that discredits your claims. We want to discourage you from continuing this fraud. We want to make an example out of you so other people's family members maybe will intervene and stop their children, sisters, friends from faking pregnancies. Of course, this is what we want. It just blows my mind that she sees it as a negative when it's actually society pressuring you to conform to the norms of society and legal behavior in the country.
Yeah, like I'm all for being different and like not, a nonconformist in some ways, but like the, conform there are societal norms,
Yeah.
not lying.
I mean, you
Like
can't go around like just smashing your car into things and assaulting people. Like we have standards, and you have to live up to those standards. And these indictments show these are standards she hasn't lived up to.
this is not
Mm.
only like I'm hoping will be an example of what like women shouldn't do, but like guys, if you date somebody who like flips the script on you, like protect yourself from this.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad for boy moms. Like I'm glad I don't have to deal with that cuz women these days, I can't imagine having to be a mother of a man and worry about my son getting involved in this.
It happens. It's yeah, like there's some real psychos out there. She goes on. She says, "I intend to meet these accusations head on, and I'll defend myself fully and relentlessly through every step of the process." She is going down with the Titanic, guys.
She's going to Sarah Boone the hell out of it, and I am all here for it.
I know. When the indictment first came out, I was kind of like, well, she's probably going to do a plea deal and plead to something somehow. But now, after I read this, I was kind of like, maybe she will go the whole Sarah Boone, Lori Vallow Daybell route. She even words it, I will defend myself. Now,
Yeah,
obviously,
that's the other thing.
she's probably going to get a lawyer. But
Will she be
just
able to find a lawyer who will
that's a
take
great
this?
question. That's a great
And
question.
or here's the other scenario. She finds a lawyer who will take this case. The DA or the county attorney offers her a plea deal. Her lawyer tries to convince her to take it. She says no, and the lawyer's like, I can't help you anymore. Like
That could happen, yeah. But
Or
on the face of it, she wrote, I will defend myself. That makes it sound like, oh, I've decided already to go pro se. That
oh,
may
that
not
would
be
yeah,
what
be
she means,
hilarious.
but when you read it, that's what it sounds like. And I'm like,
yeah.
did you mean this? Like,
She might go the Darrell Brooks route and argue
yeah,
subject matter jurisdiction.
you never know.
Don't.
You never know. The other thing that's interesting that I just noticed twice in this document, she says these charges appear to be. She doesn't say these charges are.
Mm.
She sort of says they appear to be, which is sort of like she doesn't have the conviction in what she's writing. And I wonder why that is. It's like, well, because
It's
you're
more
just
of that vague
speculating, right?
language.
Yeah.
I was on somebody else's channel this morning or this earlier this afternoon, and we were looking at Gingras's Twitter or X feed, and somebody brought up a really good point in his comment section when he posted his blog post.
Yeah,
And
we're gonna go
someone
through that
says,
soon. We're gonna go through that because that.
no, someone
Um,
says, as
yeah.
notable, even though you do your best to throw smoke and mirrors and point out possible errors, you also never write that you believe Laura is not guilty. She does the same thing.
Ah,
She never says that they are false or they are the result of this or they are, ridiculous or insert
Yeah.
adjective. But
She says she'll defend herself, but she does not say, I never committed these crimes, or I'm innocent of these crimes, or these crimes are just, they got everything wrong. She never takes that stance.
yeah,
It's very interesting. It's very
yeah.
interesting.
It was what is that? Truth by omission? I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But like, but
Sin of omission, yeah.
but that's a good point that you brought up because if you're fighting for your for your reputation and your truth and you believe that you're innocent, you would be saying that you I was expecting her to say that this is a frivolous charge and none of this is true, but I haven't seen anything like that.
his response was, how many times do I need to say this? I am not a criminal defense lawyer.
Ah,
So you have to be a criminal defense lawyer to say that she's not guilty?
yeah, he can still have an opinion. I mean, there's a whole other thread, right, which you probably went over, where he gave his opinion about something, and someone was like, "Are you qualified to give this opinion?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a layman, and I have legal experience. I wouldn't be a criminal defense attorney, but I can still have an opinion." But then on the thing you're talking about, he refuses to give an opinion. So he'll give an opinion when it suits his needs, but he won't when it doesn't. And that's the double standard that he shows when he talks to the public.
Yeah.
It's
And
just so weird. Like,
yeah, like and he's also very dramatic. He posted, like, as you alluded to earlier, Squid. He posted his blog saying that American Injustice 2025 style. Wow, this is a strange time in American legal history. I mean,
and Rogue Mama actually commented on that post and said, "Didn't we talk?" Hold on, where's
let
her
me go
comment?
and find
She
it.
said,
Let me go and
didn't
find
we
it.
talk about laying off the Trump stuff? It's not the best PR move."
Right? Yeah, he brings up these tangents, or he's trying to make these analogies, and they just don't work. I mean,
Yeah, it's like we have a convicted felon in the White House, a man who jury found liable was so online about it. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but sure.
and
We
we've
have
got a lady in Arizona riding horses who's got 7 indictments against her. So what?
we, we have a justice on the U.S. Supreme Court who was accused of sexual assault and lying about it. We have people being kidnapped off the street by the U.S. government and sent to foreign prisons without any due process. We have millions of people saying that that's perfectly okay. And on the 1st of May, on May 1st, 2025, Laura Owens was indicted for things.
Well, not things. There are 7 indictments, and they're listed out for him to read. So I don't know why he's confused about them.
I guess she's now eligible for public service. Pick your
Let's hope
crime.
not.
Yeah. Pick your crime, choose your criminal. In light of yesterday's news, a lot of folks have reached out asking for comments. So here you go. First thing, as I said all along, I'm not a criminal defense lawyer. I'm not qualified to represent Laura in the criminal case, so I won't be handling her defense.
The only silver lining in these indictments.
That would put
This,
a
this
silver
guy can
lining.
go.
That would
I don't
be
even know
the
what.
content Krampus. Laura
It would be-
Owens style.
Oh boy, it would be entertaining. But I mean, look, if he is not a criminal defense lawyer and she has been indicted with crime, why is he writing a blog? Like, he should just go home,
We'll get
go
to
have
that.
some Italian nachos, turn your computer off, and get out of this case, buddy.
Gingy, wow, baby Gingy. Sarah Dawn. That job will be left to the best criminal defense lawyer we can find. Of course, I will do anything I possibly can to help support Laura through her case, and I'll work with our criminal defense team in any way needed. Full stop. I would have said, because I believe she's innocent, but but that's just me. I would have put my
No.
reputation out there if I believe that. But how about that? We don't see that. We don't see that here. So second, just as Trump's numerous felony indictments and later 4 convictions didn't stop his lawyers from defending him, the filing of criminal charges does not impact the limited scope of my work for Laura. That work will continue. I'm still planning to ask Arizona Supreme Court to review the paternity case. That petition is due by May 15th, 2025, and I'll move forward with that filing as planned. Nothing about the criminal charges affects any of the legal arguments I have made or will make, so my approach remains unchanged. Didn't he just lose an appeal?
Yeah.
So they lost the appeal, and they did a motion for reconsideration on the appeal and lost that as well.
The appeal has always been about protecting the rule of law, including the procedural rules and the Constitution. Even when someone is accused of a crime, they still have the right to be treated fairly within the limits of the law. Third, while I am not a criminal law expert, based on what I know about Laura's story, I find the indictment deeply concerning and more than a little confusing. Specifically, at least based on what I know today, which may be incomplete or simply wrong. Some parts of the indictment appear to be based on fiction, not reality.
We're gonna go with option number 2 with that wrong.
Notice that word appear.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like the same person wrote the press release in this blog. Like, and he's like, what I know about Laura's story, where he constantly goes in and says, "Oh, this was before my time, that was before my time. I don't know that part of the story." Like, he's admitted he doesn't bother to figure the story out, but he's going to draw conclusions here. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Even in court in the June 10th hearing, he admits that there's certain things that he doesn't know.
Before my
So
time.
like, why
Yep.
did you go to court with her? And why did you go to court without looking at the case as a whole and investigating before you became her lawyer? And secondly, why would you admit that to the judge? Just
Yeah.
like, I have a
Good
short
point.
of it that I made.
Let
that
alone
really
to
said
reality Steve and Rachel Juarez. Bad move. Yeah.
Yeah. Roy Lissinger says Gingras won't be done until he drains her bank account like she drained Clayton. Yeah.
I mean, he claims he's
you
doing
think-
all this appeal work for free.
I don't believe that. Hey Roy, thanks for joining.
Is it free or on contingency?
Yeah, who knows? Well, yeah, exactly. Because I think he did a video where he said, well, if we win the appeal and the winning of the appeal means that we get attorney's fees instead of them, then I will file for attorney's fees. So I don't know. He's definitely, that's effectively some sort of contingency, I guess.
For instance, most of the perjury charges are based on things Laura said after she notified the court she was no longer pregnant. I don't think that's actually a good argument to make. Oh, you can't charge me for perjury because I said those things after I know if that doesn't make sense. That doesn't-
Make it make sense, because it just doesn't.
Yeah. This occurred in a pleading filed on December 28th. In that pleading, Laura told the court she was no longer pregnant. Do you believe that she was no longer pregnant, David? Why is that significant? Because I have explained before, perjury can't be based on just any false statement. The statement must be material. If a statement is not material, then it cannot support a perjury charge. Even if the statement is entirely false, that's textbook law. But I thought he wasn't a criminal defense expert.
Well,
Did he just admit that she lied?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying, like, let's assume these perjury charges are correct. Are they valid? Because are they based on material issues? And what he's ignoring here is that the court action was material in terms of trying to get to a ruling of non-paternity and to determination of legal fees, by the way, which both parties asked for in February and set a date to determine in June. So the case was materially progressing, and there was discovery that still needed to happen after December, after February even, and that was material. And so the perjury that happened after December was clearly material to those things, even if it wasn't material to some sort of fabricated pregnancy.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
the logic is just.
And by the way,
Goes
all
behind.
of that is why he lost his appeal and his motion for reconsideration and his post-ruling motions. And he ignores all of his failures when writing this blog and glosses over all that, which is the basis for why he was wrong then and why he's wrong now.
And I read them. I just didn't read them on my channel because I was busy with other things. But like, it's just his logic. Like, he does so many, like, he's the Simone Biles of mental gymnastics.
I like that
Like,
comparison.
he makes leaps and like flips into things that I'm like, those two,
Mm,
like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Like,
right.
you're not it, he seems to be all focused on this, like, the fact that she had a miscarriage, or quote unquote miscarriage, and that when the time frame of the miscarriage was, it's like, that's not, like, that's a an it's a part, but that's not like, it's just that seems to be his main, like, only thing that he seems to be focusing on, where it's like, no, it's like what impact that has on the case as a whole, like what proof she has.
Mm,
Well, the date, he's focused
Yeah.
on the dates. It's like, well, no, it's like we're focused on the evidence and
yeah.
like whether she was actually pregnant to begin with and
Yeah.
why she went through so many lawyers.
Yeah. It's like he just goes straight to page 28 and hasn't read the previous 27 pages and just omits that,
Well, I think it's
all
more
of that.
like he has this report from Dr. Medchill that says, hey, if a woman is pregnant, here's a bunch of things that could theoretically happen. And he creates this framework in his mind where that's what he's clinging to, is this timeline of things that could theoretically happen based on Dr. Medchill's report. And what you guys are pointing out is we're not really interested in the hypotheticals of what could happen to a pregnant person. We're interested in what actually happened in this case that is or is not demonstrable. And that's where the disconnect is.
He goes on to say that's also not my opinion. It comes directly from Arizona's perjury statutes, which requires that a perjury charge be based on a full sworn statement in regard to a material issue. So, what is a material issue? That term defined which by ARS, which says this: material means that which could have affected the course or outcome of any proceeding or transaction, whether a statement is material in any given factual situation is a question of law. Okay, so consider this question. If Laura told the court on December 28th, 2023, that she's no longer pregnant and wasn't having Clayton's baby, how could anything she said after that point aff- or change or affect the outcome of the paternity petition she filed against Clayton?
And
I
that's and that's the thing. It's not about the paternity at that point. It's
Yeah.
whether she brought a false claim to begin with.
he is
He's
he
Yeah,
focusing
is
on the
the
I
full the
think
full
he's
wrong
court
being purposely
action.
thing.
obtuse.
Yeah.
I think he's being purposely obtuse because I think he knows that. But why he's writing this like this doesn't make any sense because he is omitting a lot here.
And here's the $1,000,000 question. Is he being purposeful with this, or is he just stupid? Because really, it's a question these days of lawyers that I have. Because, there was a point in my life where I thought lawyers were smart. And then, you meet people like that and bubbles, and you start to
hopefully,
question your.
hopefully when I go to, because I am planning to become a lawyer myself. I want to go to law school. Hopefully I won't be like this. Like, hopefully.
I think no matter what you do, you'll be better than this. I even if you slept through law school, you would be better than this.
He goes on to say, I know that's a brain twister, but seriously, stop and think. Laura stated as of December 28th, 2023 that she was not pregnant. I don't at that time, the only issue pending before the court was a petition to establish paternity. A judge cannot establish paternity without a baby. That means in
Oh, that's
effect
not
as
true. That's actually false because some Somebody can have a miscarriage and still have the fetal DNA to do a paternity determination in their body after they miscarry. So he's actually medically false here.
He's just an idiot. My opinion.
Also, it wasn't the only issue pending before the court. They went on to do a finding of non-paternity and attorney's fees. So they converted the motion to dismiss into a request for attorney's fees. This is something Corey Keith specifically did in February, and he's just ignoring all of that.
It was before he took over the case, so it doesn't matter, right?
Apparently, yeah. Again, he's cherry picking details from before his time that he likes and ignoring the rest.
Sounds familiar. It seems to be common with lawyers, not paying attention to before or investigating before.
They just pick a word and stick to it.
Yeah.
That means, in effect, as of December 28, 2023, the outcome of the paternity proceeding was a foregone conclusion. A fait accompli.
That's not correct.
I know, he just put that in there. Since Laura was no longer pregnant as of December 28, 2023, regardless of any lies told after that date, there was zero possibility that the case was going to end with a judgment of paternity against Clayton. Without a baby,
it could end with a judgment of non-paternity and a legal fee determination.
Details. Those pesky details.
Right?
Yeah. Without a baby, a judgment of paternity against Clayton was a factual impossibility. Okay. For that reason, I don't see how anything Laura said after 2028, 2023, true or not, could have affected the outcome of the proceeding.
I think he should have left that true or not out of there. He should have just never brought it up, because it makes people like me go, is he admitting that he knows she's lying?
Yeah.
pretty much.
Whether he is or not, it makes my, it's like a red flag for me. Like, just don't say it and I won't think it.
Hey, yes. Doc, thrilled to hear that you're taking a law degree again. Yeah. I've got a long way to go, but I'll make it. Anyway, it says, what did she say? Where was I? Then he goes on to say the outcome of the proceeding was decided the minute Laura's pregnancy ended. Laura could have lied about 100 things after 28th of December 2023, but none of them would have caused a baby to appear out of thin air.
And neither does a blowjob.
It doesn't. This is making me laugh. He's funny. I'll give him that. None of Laura's statements were material to the issue of establishing paternity, at least not in my view. Along the same lines, sonograms cannot be used to establish.
It wasn't the only issue.
Are you hearing this? Sonograms cannot be used to establish paternity.
Here's the problem. You can't establish paternity until you establish pregnancy. And a sonogram can potentially be used to establish pregnancy, which is a prerequisite for establishing paternity.
Really?
So there's a causal link, and he's ignoring that causal link. Probably because he just takes for granted
the causal link that you have to have sex in order to get pregnant.
Yeah. And you have to do something to prove pregnant. You have to do something to have pregnancy before you can do something to prove pregnancy. You're correct.
I'm still stuck on that. Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair.
They aren't even relevant to that issue. Thus, they are not material to a position to establish paternity. But the problem is the sonogram that she provided to the court altered, or he's making it sound like the sonogram was 100% fair, 100% manufactured. It was all authentic.
I
That's
think
what.
he's bringing up. I think he's bringing up the sonogram because it's in one of the indictment counts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes me like things that make you go, huh?
Absolutely.
I mean, he says that paternity is the only issue before the court. It wasn't the only issue before the court, so he's just wrong.
Yeah.
And all of his motions failing, and him losing the case, and him losing the appeal, and the motion to reconsider, all confirm that.
I can't believe he's going to go to the Arizona Supreme Court after the motion to reconsider failed.
Well, I mean,
they're just gonna laugh him out of it.
why not? What else has he got to do? Put sunscreen on all day? I mean, what else is he
Give
going to do?
up and cut his losses and say we lost. Time to move on with our lives and stay out of the spotlight.
You're giving rational advice to people that aren't rational.
He could focus on his YouTube channel. No?
Oh man.
Arizona law.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, I just think it's hilarious that he and his client have done some YouTube videos after talking or insulting everybody that was covering the case on YouTube. I think it's just a double standard.
And they're also trying to make money with like their podcast and stuff, but yet get on people's cases about being monetized on YouTube. Like
exactly, yeah.
It's like rules for me or rules for thee and not for me.
Arizona law explains how paternity can be proven, and the most common way is with a DNA test, which must show 95% match. Sonograms are not listed among the ways you can establish paternity for obvious reasons. Paternity is about proving who the biological father is. Sonograms don't reveal anything about a baby's DNA, so that's why they cannot be used to prove paternity. In addition, if you believe Clayton and believe that Laura was never pregnant, then a sonogram would not change that fact.
What? This doesn't make sense. If she had a legitimate sonogram from a medical provider that was sent from the provider directly to Greg Woodnick, then yeah, we could infer she was pregnant. But the problem is they never did that. That's the whole problem here.
He's omitting a lot. By the same logic, if I was pregnant, a fake sonogram wouldn't change that fact either. Oh, come on. He just
I mean,
all of that build up just to
it would just prove fraud. I mean,
which is what perjury, which is part of the perjury charge.
Yeah, that's why we have 7 indictments today. Shocking.
He said all of that word salad just to minimize the fact that it was a fake sonogram.
Yeah, he's kind of hyper focused on this whole court thing being about determining paternity. And the problem is there are issues in this entire court action beginning to end that go beyond the mere RavGen DNA test for paternity. And he's ignoring all of it.
Oh, before I go on, folks, make sure you hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It will help us out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, I cover a lot of trials and cases here, so don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow, I'm covering the Diddy case so far. So yeah, hopefully, if you enjoy cases and all of that jazz, make sure that you subscribe and let's have some fun in the spiciest court in the land. So where was I? He said thus she says no. He said no matter how you look at it, a sonogram, fake or real, could never ever change the outcome of a paternity petition. It's literally not possible. Thus, even if Laura created a totally fake sonogram,
cringy.
that is.
I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. He needs to stop putting fake or real. even if she did this, even if she stop putting the thought that your client lied, faked, defrauded, perjured, stop putting that thought in the minds of people who read this. Because even if I had never heard of this case before and I had read this, it puts in my brain that, well, what if she did? He's saying it. So if he's saying it, why?
His PR and marketing is very bad. It's not good. It's not good PR. It's not good marketing. It's very bad.
Should I send him a book, the 22 laws of marketing or whatever?
I don't know. Isn't he just going to retire and go to Europe and drink wine? I don't know.
Let's hope so. Can y'all take him in Europe? The 22 immutable laws
you guys
of marketing.
can keep him. You guys can keep him. We don't claim him here.
Can the UK take him, please?
We got to do a paternity case for parenting time of Gingras between me and Hines here. We got to see who's going to take care of this Gingras guy.
Well,
neither of us want him, by the way. It's a different kind of paternity case. Neither of us want him.
Well, he said that his wife is from where I live, which is Luton. So who knows? He might actually track me down.
Can y'all take Harry and Meghan back with you too?
You guys don't like him over there? We don't want him here.
Anybody who says they don't understand our First Amendment, you could just go. Like, you could just go. You've already got Amber Heard in Europe. We don't want Gingras.
The plume.
You got Rosie O'Donnell over there. You got Ellen. Y'all can keep all them people.
I don't know. Amber Heard, what's she going to do? Maybe we could trade Gingras for Amber Heard. We could do a little trade.
You want Amber Heard back in the States?
I'll trade you Amber Heard.
I think she'd do less damage than Gingras. I don't know.
She's not as educated, so but she is as conniving. I mean, we can do trades. We can talk.
Oh gosh. Okay. He says it's literally not possible. Thus, even if Laura created a totally fake sonogram, he said it twice. That would not be material to the issue of paternity because he could not possibly have changed the outcome of the case. Okay. Wait to clear under the bus.
He's arguing a very narrow definition of this case that's already been overruled by the appeals court.
Yeah.
So I think he's done.
Note specifically says whether the statement is material in any given factual situation is a question of law. Questions of law are resolved by the judge, not a jury, which the judge told you that if it's not valid what you're arguing here. That means if my argument is legally correct, which is not, Laura could ask the court to dismiss any perjury charge, which they won't, that was based on immaterial misstatements. This is, of course, an argument that some other lawyer, not me, will have to raise at the appropriate time. I hope Laura goes pro se. I am
honestly,
also
with the lawyers that she's been getting, it might be her best bet.
Good point. I am also extremely confused by the last charge, count 7, which says that Laura did destroy, mutilate, alter, conceal, or remove physical evidence with exhibits A6 and 7 used during the June 10th, 2024 hearing. When read literally, that sounds like Laura destroyed 2 trial exhibits.
No, it doesn't. Because the word alter is in there. Destroy 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 verbs. It sounds like only one verb when there's 5 verbs. What is wrong with him?
You went full retard.
His
reading comprehension is completely broken. There's 5 verbs and he picks one and it says it sounds like the one verb. It
Someone
could be any of them.
The Delulu lemonade.
He doesn't understand this is inclusive or. This is ridiculous.
Hmm. Hey, Sarah Dawn. She says, "You're in Luton, Hines. I used to live in Marlow. Yo,
Oh,
nice, nice. Uh, and Brennan, Zach. Oh yeah, you're following the Canry trial. Hank Brennan may be available soon. Laura should hire him.
oh no.
Oh gosh, that trial is like I'm covering that here as well. So yeah, that trial is it's a
That's
roller
one I
coaster.
can't do. That's too long, too frustrating, makes my blood pressure rise. I don't
Yeah,
have the time. Too many other people are covering it.
yeah,
No way better than
a
I
lot
do.
of people
So,
are covering it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
But
people who
we,
are smarter than me.
yeah, yeah. But we know that isn't true. Both of those exhibits were filed with the clerk in electronic form, and those exhibits still those trial exhibits still exist. Nothing was destroyed. I don't. He picks out.
Shocking. Exhibits A6 and A7 exist because they're exhibits. This guy's from kindergarten or something. This is ridiculous.
He thought that they were destroyed and just focused on that. This is literally him living in his own world.
Somebody spiked the Delulu lemonade. I'm telling you.
So, despite the strange wording, which I assume just tracks the language from the statute, I'm guessing the state is not actually claiming Laura destroyed any evidence. Oh, well, welcome back to the real world.
Oh, he's
I'm,
guessing.
I'm guessing the focus would be on the word altar. So you've read it. So
Oh, he
she
finally
somehow
figured it
faked.
out. Oh.
Yeah, she somehow faked and edited those two exhibits. Both A6, A7 were short videos.
Maybe in
That
his next blog, he can explain to us how 1 + 1 = 2.
he might he might argue that 2 + 2 = 5. 1 × 1 = 2. He
I
might
know,
argue
right? Yeah, some new math. Yeah,
that.
It must be that new math.
space age math.
I'll talk
Yeah.
to my cousin. She's a math teacher.
That allegation is part of the propaganda spread by Laura's haters over the last several years. We're famous, guys.
Well, and see, the thing is I don't truly think Laura has haters. I think Laura has people who we hate her actions, not her. Like there's a difference. You can hate somebody's actions and not hate them. And also, I want her to get help because she sounds like she needs it. And she is skinny. Like she sounds like she needs help.
Mm.
I think there probably are people that hate her, but his language here is very vague. He doesn't say what this propaganda is. He doesn't say who spread it. He uses all this vague language to create this nebulous cloud of enemies that he can be angry at. That's what he's doing here, or argue against. And it's very non-specific. And to me, that's a big red flag when it comes to these arguments. Whenever someone's very non-specific.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exhibits A6 and A7 clearly show Laura with a large swollen belly. Obviously, Laura has pointed to those videos as proof that she was pregnant. This is why Laura's critics hate those videos, because they contradict the narrative they want people to believe. So who's telling the truth?
No, it's very simple. Photographs are not clinical proof of pregnancy. That's just science. It's not about hating someone. It's not about being contradicted. It's about the scientific fact that a photo is not clinical proof of pregnancy. That's all.
Like I
So
know that science is always evolving and science is always changing in what we know, but I think we got this pregnancy thing. Like I'm pretty sure we got this down on how to tell if someone's
We got to
pregnant.
figure it out. Yeah.
I'm almost positive that over the course of thousands of years that we finally figured that out.
mhm.
Just
Yeah.
maybe I'm crazy, but
Isn't it how interesting he can argue that if a sonogram doesn't prove paternity, but now says that photos prove paternity? Isn't that funny?
This is another weird double standard where he's like, you can't use ultrasounds to do anything with paternity, but oh, this swollen belly, he puts it in all caps, large and swollen. Like he's really got to hammer it home because he knows it's bogus. So to make it sound more convincing, he uses the all caps. This is a clear tell.
Yeah. Is Laura the victim of a false allegation, or did she actually fake the exhibits? Let's consider a few points. I understand sometimes women can gain weight or experience bloating. Are you calling Laura fat? Okay. Or experience bloating for reasons unrelated to pregnancy. But sometimes a swollen belly means exactly what you think it does. Here, the videos of Laura belly were taken 6+ months before I met her. So unfortunately, I can't personally vouch for this, for what they show, since I didn't know her then. Even if you knew her, you can't. You
Plausible
still,
deniability.
yeah.
So he writes a whole paragraph basically saying, I don't know. Thanks,
Words
buddy.
valid. Yeah.
He's so useless. Like he writes a whole paragraph and doesn't tell us anything.
Half of this is not telling us anything.
Yeah.
But
this guy is useless.
But here's my
No,
take.
he's very entertaining. He's not completely useless.
I actually
He writes for some very, very entertaining days.
I've been laughing all
Maybe,
through reading this. It's so stupid. It's so
relent on that, yeah.
But here's my take. There are strong reasons to believe Laura did not alter those videos. Here are just a few off the top of my head. There are many videos of Laura around this time. They all show the same swollen belly. Below is a video I put together showing both trial exhibits. She actually did this. Trial exhibits A6 and 7, and some of other videos you may not have seen before. All of these look pretty much the same to me, and I see nothing that looks like photoshopping. Laura appeared in court on video in October 2023, and she appeared to have the same swollen belly at the time. I'm pretty sure that her lawyer is going to argue this, I'm guessing. Well, whoever's going to defend
I hope
her.
her lawyer has better arguments than this. I really do.
Her belly was so large, Clayton's lawyer, Greg Woodnick, falsely told the courts that Laura was faking a moon bump. Clearly, Laura could not alter or manipulate the court's own video record, and those videos match exactly how Laura looked in the trial exhibits A6 and 7.
Yeah, that's also wrong. That's also a false statement, because the Woodnick filing says that it appears that she might have been wearing a moon bump. It doesn't claim a factual claim. It's speculation in the court filing if you go read it. So he's conflating speculation with a factual claim here, which is wrong.
Laura's medical records show that October 2023, she weighed about 132 pounds. Just a few months later, in 2024, she weighed 89 pounds and still does. Laura has always been extremely thin, and she is generally a small person, around 5'5". If she weighs 89 pounds today, and we know a doctor recorded her weight as 130 plus during the time these videos were made, that was seen to be a strong proof that the videos are 100% accurate. They show a much heavier person with a larger belly, which is corroborated by her medical records, which no one has disputed as accurate.
I mean, here's the thing. If I take a video and I have a large abdomen, okay, but if I take that video and I do something to it that is manipulation, editing, okay, then both things can be true. Oh,
look at her posture in that one.
That's weird.
That
audio.
forward flexed. If you that is, you can make a belly look bigger with that.
Yeah. So she could have a large abdomen and do a bunch of Photoshop. Whatever is in the indictment, and we just don't know what they found on her devices that motivated the indictment. So everything he's doing here is not strong evidence.
Absolutely.
He's basically saying, I think she either Photoshopped a video or she had a large abdomen. And the reality is she could have a large abdomen and do Photoshop. And he's ignoring that case. So he's cherry picking from the state space of feasibility. And he's
Mm.
saying this is strong evidence, again, in all caps, which is a tell. So it's just disingenuous.
Yeah. Now, having said all of that, is it possible that the county attorney has other evidence that show Laura's fake exhibits
It's a good
86?
possibility.
This guy is smart enough to know the truth. Like, he's smart enough to know.
He's gaslighting everybody. This is textbook gaslighting.
It's insane because then he's like, I have no idea. So he went through this, he made a video, he wrote paragraph after paragraph, and at the end of the day, he's just like, I don't know. Like, thanks, buddy, for your worthless blog.
It's so worthless. Because, I mean, oh, Lord. I mean, like, you would think you would write a blog if you have submitted Laura's phone to, those pictures that he was referencing. You would think that you'd make a blog if you gave it to, like, let's say an expert, right? That went through the whole thing, like a cell bright extraction or whatever, you know, like something like that. And they have
for
proof,
sure.
and they have proof that nothing was altered, that
Yeah.
it was, you know, you would think that they will make a blog just for that. But this one, he says all of this, so just puts the video around and says, I have no idea. At this time, I don't think so.
He rolled out of bed, drank some orange juice or whatever, and threw a bunch of garbage on the screen here. Like, that's what he did. He didn't do any work. This is all just garbage. You're right. And you know who did do the cell bright extractions on all these devices? The Maricopa County Attorney's Office investigators. Those are the people that did that. And we'll find out if she goes to trial.
Yeah, like, when is that? Oh, October 2025.
The docket has it set for October, but every lawyer that's looked at this says in these type of cases the date always gets moved. So we'll see.
Oh, okay. I have no idea, and as explained above, I have seen reasons to believe Laura did not alter or edit those exhibits, but I haven't seen what evidence the county attorney has, neither have you.
Yeah, but what we have seen are 7 indictments that passed the scrutiny of a grand jury. That's pretty damning.
Yeah. Anything is possible, so we will have to wait and see what the evidence shows. I assume the county attorney would not make an allegation like this without proof to back it up. People may not realize this, but prosecutors who make false claims can be sued for doing so, just like anyone else. Thanks for letting us know that.
More 1 + 1 = 2 there.
So for now, like everyone else, all I can do is sit back and wait to see what proof the county attorney has. Keep in mind, sometimes law enforcement makes mistakes, and just because charges are filed does not mean those charges are legally accurate or supported by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I know a certain president of the United States who would agree with that 100%. Oh my gosh.
He has to start it with Trump and end it with Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, brilliant writer.
It would have been better if he talked about the Karen Reed trial, maybe. Like, sometimes law enforcement collects evidence in solo cups.
Solo cups, yeah.
Of course, I don't think anybody collected any fetal DNA in a red Solo cup in this case. I don't know if that happened.
I have never seen, it's off topic, but I've never seen any investigation do that. I just haven't seen it.
Right?
At the end of the day, all I care is that Laura is treated fairly. She's allowed to present a full and fair defense, and that our case is resolved according to the facts of the law. Finally, here is a statement Laura wrote herself responding to the charges.
You know, that last paragraph is the only thing in there that I actually agree with him on.
Oh, for sure. The trick is he'll disagree with us about what the facts are and what the law is. That's the only problem.
That's true.
But the way he wrote that second to last paragraph is accurate. Sure. It's good.
Yeah.
It took all that time to finally say something that was legitimate.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, how, oh my God. It just
Yep.
makes you like, I can't describe it exactly, but it makes you look at like whatever's going on in your real life and it's like maybe my in real life problems ain't so bad. And the
No,
people who I think
Yeah.
are ridiculous in my real life, I don't have to deal with people like that in my real life.
mm,
Yeah. No matter how your week is going, you don't have 7 indictments lodged against you like Laura Owens. If you don't, you're doing better than her. So keep that in mind.
yeah.
It's 5 o'clock. I got to go, man. But thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
I gotta
No
get out of here
worries.
too.
No
I've been on
worries.
the computer way too much today. I'm pretty sure my man's mad at me for it.
No worries. Thank you so much for
No
joining me,
problem.
guys.
Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me
Yeah.
on.
Have a
It's
good one.
fun to talk about this and like
Yeah.
just I just read the documents on my streams, but like this is the second time that I'm reading them now, and it's like going through them the second time. It's like I'm picking up things that I didn't read the first time, and
Yeah.
it's getting that second look where it's like, oh, I didn't hear that when I read it out loud the first time, or I'm processing it different than I did the first time, and it's just it's even more ridiculous this time than it was last time. But like, oh my god.
Mm.
Ugh. I like
Yeah.
discussing things with you too because it you give me a different perspective that I hadn't thought about.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
For sure.
yeah.
All right.
um,
Yeah.
Thanks
all
so
right.
much. I'll talk to y'all
No
later.
worries. Have a good day. Have a good day,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.
I have to get out of here too. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay. Let me just read a couple of chats before, and then we're gonna get out of here. Says it has been interesting. Spawn Trooper, thanks for joining. Says it has been interesting interaction. Mama help. I find this case is so bizarre. How can the law in a country be so deranged? I mean, strange. But yeah, like following this case, I'm gonna be providing updates in regards to the law to the Law Owens case as it comes out, whatever development comes out from the case. I'll be giving updates and doing streams on it. So yeah, like hopefully you guys will stick around. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. And like the stream. Yeah. So SpongeBob says, no, not a problem, mate. You're in England. I'm in Wales, mate, but you're welcome. Great stream. Thank you. Thank you, Spawn Trooper. I'm just trying to get back into the flow of things. Bit rusty today, if I'm being honest. But in due time, hopefully, I will cut out a lot of the a lot of the teething problems, etc. So yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone for like tuning in. I appreciate it. Um and trying with us tonight. It's very late here in the UK. It's like 1 a.m. So but I napped most of the day to stay up to do this. So yeah, I'm happy you guys stuck around. Uh I'm not there was I couldn't um there was something here, but I'm happy that that an indictment is finally going against against Laura. Like I'm really happy with that. Finally justice is being brought to them, to Laura against, she has really she has really caused these men a lot of distress, a lot of. So yeah, like if she pays by going to prison, by going to prison, that'll be an icing on the cake. But whatever happens, we shall see. We shall be covering it. So yeah. Let me just read a couple more. Squid Zach says Squid pays me to be a personal fat shamer. Zach, I've missed you. I mean, I've missed you. Yeah. But I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much, guys, again for tuning in. I'll be doing a live trial watch of the Karen Reed trial from Monday. So hopefully you guys will join there if you're interested in that case. I'll also be going through the Diddy trial tomorrow with a guest citizen journalist. So yeah, if you guys are interested in legal cases and trial talk, yeah, definitely consider subscribing. But without further, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves and have a great evening or day wherever you're at. Bye, Sarah Dawn, Spawn Trooper, not Stone Trooper. Zach, Nom de Plume, M169. Thanks, and others that I've tuned in but may not have used the chat. I want to thank my guests as well, Squid Pro Quo. I'm Bruce from Oregon for tuning in. I really appreciate and love them for that. But yeah, all of you guys, I appreciate you for keeping us company and enjoying the banter. Thank you, and thank you, Nom de Plume, for that comment. I appreciate you. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye bye. The show is over. But that does not mean that the fun has to end. And I know how cliche that sounds, but really and truly, the fun really does not have to end. You know how good our streams are and how fun they can be. So we have decided to put them all into a podcast and a playlist format for you to binge on if you so wish. We also do recaps and clips of the best bits, the worst bits, all of those bits, lady bits, every bits, whatever it might be. We do that as well, and we upload onto the channel so in case you guys just you don't wanna watch the full thing, you have the option of watching just the short versions. It's up to you. You have the choice. You have the power, like E-Man. So without further, you can also check out the main Heinz website where we continue the discussions over there, but in a more broader context to try and get into the psychology of why all these things happen. The end screen should be up here so that you guys can see the content you guys can watch. The playlist will be on your left hand side or right hand side, I don't know which one, and the video that and a recap clip should pop up here. So without further, I'll just say bye, and I'll see you on the next stream, and most importantly, the Unintentional Juror podcast. See you there.